I wish things were different.
Ellie!
But they ain't.
Please stop!
Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're talking about The Last of Us Part 2. It's going to be part spoiler-free, part spoiler. We're going to get into it. Cassie, as always, is here. I am John. And let's get straight into it. What did you think of... Well, first of all, let's back it up a little bit. We never played The Last of Us Part 1 up until like a month or two ago, would you say? It's about like a month ago, right?
Something like that.
Something like that. It was during quarantine, where we were like, hey, we need to do something to pass the time. I was trying to find a game to download on PS4 to pass that time, and I was like, you know what? This game has always been kind of like pretty high. It's like always like a 9 out of 10 on all the scores. I'm like, let's check it out. Thought it was great. Joel, Ellie, fantastic. I enjoyed it. A little grim, a lot of grim. It is a grim story. Definitely has some echoes of like The Walking Dead, which I kind of like. And then we got the new one that came out on the 19th, I guess it was. Kind of played through it on a weekend. Took about, I don't know, like 40 hours to get from A to B, from the beginning to end. So let's get into it. So, just to rehash, and you know what, this is going to be spoilers a little bit, so if you haven't, we apologize. So basically, it's a long game.
It is, but...
Good.
They really develop the story, though, so you really get engrossed in the characters.
Do you mean... You're not talking about Abby, are you?
I'm just gonna ignore you.
Do you like Abby?
I like Ellie more than I like Abby. I don't hate Abby. I don't love Abby, but...
You're a middle in the roader, aren't you? Go on, speak your thing.
I don't know why I let you ask me questions.
This is YouTube, where you can only be one or the other. There's no in the middle. Haven't you gotten that memo?
I will see myself out.
But go ahead. You're kind of in the middle of the road.
But I don't know. I mean, you also get attached to Ellie in the first game, so
yes.
You have the entire first game to get attached to Ellie. So by the time you get to the second game, you're already invested in this character, and they do what they can to try to develop Abby's story to make her more human, and they definitely do, but like I said, you have so much more time with Ellie that it's hard to be like, Abby!
I found it forced. I know exactly what they were going for, but I felt it was a little bit forced, and I didn't buy into it. You didn't get my money for it. I was like, no, I'm not sold. I'm not... Because, like, basically they're trying to... And it wasn't done well. So, basically, I was looking at the chapters again. Because once you beat the game, you can play any chapter you want, which kind of gave me a nice outline and a breakdown of the entire game. So, basically, in a nutshell, it's like the prelude chapter, and then Seattle 1, 2, and 3, like day 1, day 2, day 3. And then you repeat 1, 2, and 3 of Seattle through the point of view of Abby. And then you have, like, the beach and the epilogue. Playing the game, I remember thinking, once I finished day 3 of Ellie, which was all in well, and then it went into the flashback with Abby, I was like, alright, well, you know what? It's going to be like a chapter of Abby, and then we're going to go back to the conclusion, and then we're going to be done. And it'll be good. That's fine. I thought it was a dick move by Naughty Dog to do this thing where... they get to that cliffhanger where Abby and Ellie are head-to-head, and they're screaming at each other, and then cut. And then they go all the way back, and now you have to play as Abby, and you're like, I hate this bitch, I don't want to play as Abby. And I think everyone is meant to feel that way, and then it's meant to make you empathize with her and see her point of view, and they got the whole bit about her dad was the surgeon, and I understand that idea, and I can even kind of get behind it. Like, if you were, like, pitching me in, then, like, one of those pitch meetings about, like, okay, the doctor's gonna... Okay, I get it. I don't think it was well done in its execution, because I found Abby to be kind of just not a good person. I didn't care about Owen and Mel. I thought Owen was kind of a dick. Like, he couldn't, like... he's got like a pregnant wife, but he's like kind of messing around with Abby, and Abby's kind of shitty for kind of doing that too. And then what I found really annoying was that we do a flashback with Abby, but then we do a flashback inside of a flashback, and we go all the way back to that scene like when they're on the Ferris wheel and like he's swinging it, and I'm like, I don't really need to see all this. And I just found it very tedious. I found myself running through a lot of the levels. Like I just stopped picking up all of the screws and bolts, and I'm like, I just want to get through it all. And then another problem that I had with this game too is that they didn't mirror each other. If you're gonna do a story where you have day 1, 2, and 3 with Ellie and then Abby, there should be some like Venn diagram that overlaps, and there's kind of not. I mean, I guess there is a little bit, but not. Like Tommy's in both, right? Like Tommy's like the sharpshooter in Abby's section of it. But when I was playing Abby's 3 days, I don't really think there's like much of anything. I'm sure somebody will find like a little Easter egg, but there was nothing in there that was like, I was reminded that Ellie is out there and I need to watch out for Ellie. I mean, all there was like Tommy a little bit. I did like that Ellie was tracking down Tommy and was finding like the dead corpses along the way. Like that was kind of cool. And you were kind of wondering if you're going to catch up to Tommy and stuff like that. But like I said, I had a really hard time buying into Abby, and then I did not like, and this is like a spoiler, I did not like that they show us that Ellie killed, Owen, Mel, whoever, Manny, I guess was one of them maybe, I can't remember which ones she killed, because it took all the juice out of like the scene when like I didn't care anymore. Like if they did this thing where they alternated it, like if they did Seattle 1 and then Seattle 1 again and then 2, 2, 3, 3 and kind of went like stacked it back and forth, as opposed to like, okay, here is a full meal of Ellie, and oh, you're full? It doesn't matter. Eat this giant meal of Abby, and you're like, ugh, I did not. Do you know what I mean? It was like, it took all the momentum out of it, and I think the peak of me giving a shit was when Ellie and Abby are face to face, and then Jesse jumps in, again, spoilers, Jesse jumps in the room, he gets blown away, Tommy jumps in, he gets shot, Jesse's killed, all that kind of mayhem, because like Lev gets in there, because for whatever reason I seem to care more about Lev and Dina than I did for Ellie and Abby after a while, because they were kind of like a little too obsessive, and I don't know, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess because they become innocent bystanders.
Right, they're dragged in. They're not...
They still have stories, but they're not aggressively doing anything.
Right.
And Dina, you really get to know through Ellie, and then I guess Lev has their own side story, and they're just trying to, like, survive everything that's kind of going on.
Lev kind of became my favorite character after a while.
Well...
Yeah, I know, right? Like, I like Ellie a lot, but I've already liked... I mean, if you want to look at just this game, like, what it brought new to the table, as opposed to... Because I already like Ellie from the first game. But I guess, like, when it comes to, like, Abby, Marcus? I don't know. Manny, Owen... I don't think there is a Marcus. But, like, Manny, Owen, Lev, Dina... I like Dina. Dina's cool.
I like Dina a lot.
Yeah. And Jesse was cool. He got a raw deal. Tommy was kind of... I don't know how I feel about Tommy. Because you got that... Let's talk about that scene later, like where, cut to where Ellie's on the farm, and then Tommy shows up, he's got the map, and this is where I thought the story was going to kind of end. I thought that it was going to be right here that Ellie was going to be like, alright, look, I'm with Dina now, we have a really nice house, tons of stuff, and goats and chickens and whatnot. And Dean even says, like, she hung it up, we're not doing that again. And I thought for sure that Ellie, because I think time has passed, was going to be like, listen, Tommy, it kills me, but I'm done. I'm not going anymore. And maybe Tommy goes on his way, credits, right? And then you could maybe even try to do like a Last of Us Tommy game. I don't know, maybe. But no, of course it's like, it's more. And she goes on this whole thing. That was another issue I had with this game too. And I know I'm shitting on this game, but I like it a lot. I like the gameplay. It's very detailed. Like the atmosphere. Well, I mean, again, I don't mean to shit on it again, but sometimes there was like the maps were so big that you'd like, where do I go? Like, you would like walk around the edges of the map, and then like you'd hit like a dead end, and you'd be like, where do I go? I found out later online. I don't know how to activate it, but there is like a pointer system that will point you in the right directions. I remember going down the raft on the water when she's in the boat, like trying to, and I'm like, I hit like a dead end. The canoe just keeps going into like different stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. There was a couple times I would just like kill my character because like the respawn would be very easy. I don't think you really lost anything. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like drown myself or shoot myself, and then I'll respawn at the checkpoint, and maybe I'll be looking in the right direction of where to go. But yeah, so she decides to hunt her down again, and you know, you have that scene where we find, well, there's too many groups too. Like you have the wolves and the scars, which are the two main factions. Like that's like Ellie and Abby's groups. But then you have also the people in the jungle, like Lev's camp,
right?
Like and Lev is the one that looks like the last Airbender. I swear to God, like just because like she's so like he is so majestic in the way like he jumps on like the scaffolding, and you know he's bald and the whole bit. And they're the ones that are like hanging people, I think, and whatnot. And then you have the fourth group in like the very like the 12th hour or the 25th hour. You have that group of people that take like slaves. And they're like, we have slaves, and we have, or prisoners, or whatever you want to call them. But, like, they take people as, like, you know, as prisoners, and they basically just tie them up and put them in cages. With no real reason behind it. It's just, like, they're just stereotypical bad guys, and there's no explanation. It's not like they're using them to, like, go do farming or something. It's just, like, they're just bad guys.
They don't give you any idea that they have a purpose.
Right.
They're just, like, I'm gonna keep you in there so I can keep an eye on you, maybe. I don't know.
And even that scene when Abby is on the radio trying to reach the Fireflies, I thought for sure that was going to be like another ending. It was going to be like Ellie answers, and maybe they were going to have like a conversation that could have been like the tie-in. Because I'm like, well, that'll be clever, because that way they won't have to. If you put them in the room together, they're going to have to fight. But if you can kind of buffer it with like a radio, maybe they can talk out their differences and kind of see each other's point of view. And then I thought there was going to be a thing where they both get kidnapped and they're going to have to work together.
Yeah, you had mentioned that as like a possibility.
And then they'll bond. Might do.
And
right.
When you see Abby get kidnapped and then Ellie go in that direction looking for her, you get the idea that that might be a possibility.
Right. But no.
No.
I do enjoy that entire ending scene, though, where Ellie is just blowing her way through the guys who have prisoners. Like, when they go to the compound, and I'm just, like, killing everybody, and I'm running and gunning, and I'm, like, sliding under shit, and I'm picking up guns, and I'm throwing cocktails and blowing them up. I'm like, that was great. That was a lot of fun. Again, it was like, we don't need these end bad guys, but I did enjoy it, so I, you know, take points back. I did hate that motherfucker in the basement of the hospital.
Oh.
That was the only thing in the entire game where I went online, and I was like, how do you defeat the fat bloater zombie in the basement? And the internet told me, just play Ring Around the Rosie with the pole, and, you know, because it walks slow and it's fat.
Right.
So if you play Ring Around the Rosie, and then, you know, and then I turned the brightness all the way up so I can actually see. Because there'd be like that little guy who jumped off the bigger Demigorgon, and like, because that's what it is. And like, you know, and that was the only scene that was like, kind of like, alright. And I thought they could have done a little bit more, because they really build it up, like, this is the origins, this is ground zero, this is where it all began. And again, you just get one more letter that somebody wrote, and all the letters are kind of the same, like, things aren't going so well here, and I hope somebody comes to help. And then it's like, 2 days later, I'm fucked. Tell my loved ones I said hey.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of reminds me of like that scene from, because like there's one letter that's like, it's just like scribbles a little bit, and like it reminds me of like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and he's like, the guy was carving, like, maybe he was dying. He wouldn't take the time to write, like, it reminded me of that. I was like, what are you doing? You know, but I guess, like, you know, letter writing would take over for texting in the apocalypse, I guess. I don't know. It was a little, like, whatever, you know. So we get to the ending, and I'm blowing through this because I'm assuming you guys have already played the game. You wouldn't be watching this otherwise. This is very much like a spoiler discussion. We get to the end of the game. They're on the beach. You blow through all the bad guys. You get to the the waterfront where Ellie is kind of tied up. She's got really choppy Anne Heche hair. She cuts her down.
You mean Abby's tied up? You said Ellie.
Yes, my bad. You are Ellie.
I'm like, hold on.
Ellie, Abby, she cuts down Abby, and, Abby is kind of chill, but she's like, oh, it's you. I guess she just thought that she got captured too, maybe.
I guess.
She seemed way too chill. I mean, she had a rough week, month, year. So she cuts her down, and Abby is very skittish, and it's kind of funny in a way because she's like, "Are we doing this? No, look, if I just assume we're not doing this, maybe I could just get in that boat and go and be on my way." Takes Lev.
Priority shifts. She's just trying to get Lev because Lev's really in bad shape.
Yeah.
So she's just trying to get Lev in a boat so she can bring him back home.
I could do that too.
Get him, yeah. But they're all become girls at some point because you got Abby and Ellie and Dina.
And it's dark, and I kept confusing. And I think they're both bald. I kept confusing Lev with Lev's sister. I don't know, because you don't really see them up close and personal too much. And I got really annoyed too that I did the whole mission to go to the hospital and get the medicine just for the sister to die. And I was like, well, which is, it's fine. It's like that, it's kind of what happens in these zombie movies.
But you already know because you watch Ellie's story first. So that's,
right.
I guess I don't know if the way that you described it with day one, Ellie, day one, Abby, and that as in day two, back and forth, if it would have shown her getting the medicine, her healing, and then showing Abby kill her, because that would have been kind of interesting if they had showed it in the reverse. But
I don't even mind the story that much. I mind the editing that they use to show it. You're showing the spoilers before you're giving the whole movie.
Yeah, because he was playing it and he's going, I don't know why I'm going to get this. She's going to die.
Right. That's right. I was like, why am I even bothering? Because she's not going to live.
You totally have a point. Because Ellie just comes in guns blazing. So you already know that she's going to be the victim of that. So
I was a little weirded out by Abby's man pecs too. Because they decided to go with a topless scene for
yes,
Abby.
They do.
And she looks like Arnold in pumping iron. She looks like she's been doing every workout. And I'm like, are they doing this to try to get around the censors, or I guess maybe she's just really. I don't. It was weird.
Well, she was very weird. Buff, and
yeah. She had arms. That's how I knew I was Abby.
They have a gym, so they definitely. She definitely focused heavy on working out and staying fit through everything. Which is pretty stellar in a zombie apocalypse, because you're not exactly, have an abundance of food, but
like I said, they did not win me over on the idea that they were one and the same, consumed by vengeance and revenge. I know that they had the same reasoning, but I didn't empathize with Abby the way I did with Ellie, even though they made me go on Abby's very long journey.
Yeah, but it shouldn't have taken so long, because like you said, but at that point I could see why. You're kind of exhausted. You've been trying to get so far, and like you said, you feel like you're kind of getting to the end. They've finally confronted each other, they're face to face, and then it's like, hold on, let me rewind and do it from the other point of view.
Right.
And you're just what am I doing?
I almost wonder if they had a completely separate game. Maybe don't even call it The Last of Us, but it was about Abby, and it's about how her father was killed and how she survived in the apocalypse. And then we get to this game, and this game is part 3, and we find out these two characters that we came to love separately are going to combine, go head to head. But they didn't do anything like that. They didn't even the playing field at all, so it never got me where they wanted me to go.
How would you have felt if they had done part 2 from Abby's perspective and then made part 3 them kind of going at it? I don't know. I guess it would have been. I guess you couldn't have really made a full game out of that, or maybe just made it the ending of the second game.
It would be rough from a marketing point of view, because they'd be like, "Where's Ellie? Who's Abby?"
Right.
And then it would also feel like you're retreading a little. Well, it wouldn't be retreading yet. It would be retreading when you get to the third one and you find out that Joel got killed. Then, because if you did Abby first, then I guess Ellie's revenge story would be third, So it would, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know.
It has pacing issues and editing issues, like the order of the events that they are presented, kind of ruined it a little bit for me. Because, like I said, I did not care. So we get to the end, and she makes her fight because she's like, "I'm not doing this. I'm just gonna leave." She puts a knife to Lev, and she's like, "All right, come on, let's do it." And that was the one level I replayed again because I want to relook at it. She stabs her in the chest. Ellie stabs Abby in the chest. It goes like 3 inches deep. Abby bites Ellie's 2 fingers off, and at that point she has another flashback, which is convenient for, I guess, the plot, where it's like a happy memory or a different memory, a memory about, I guess, a little bit more about forgiveness.
Right.
And that kind of transpires into her letting Abby go.
Well, that's why, at the beginning, not really the beginning, but once she's all settled with Dina, she's kind of having flashbacks of seeing Joel get killed, and she just keeps seeing like these really traumatic memories, and it's really messing with her head, which is kind of her motivation to go on like this last mission and confront Abby. But when she finally gets the upper hand and she can totally do her in, she sees a flash and it's just Joel at peace. He's just like hanging out on a rocking chair. And I guess that's meant to be like a character turning point of, I don't have to do this to avenge him.
Right.
So.
And I kind of got the vibe that was the message you were trying to give. Because I'm like, sweet baby Jesus help us. If Ellie kills Abby and leaves, and then they show the boat, and Lev kind of looks her head up, and she's like, now I have to go kill Ellie. I'd be like,
no.
Right? Well, it was starting to feel that way.
Yeah.
Because they already doubled down on, like, the my daddy's dead and I want revenge kind of bullshit.
Right.
So, I don't know. And then she goes back to the farmhouse, and I realized something, because I played this a couple days ago. I want to take some days to digest this, because it was like 40 hours to play the game. I played it on super light, on super easy, because I wanted to just know how it ended. And she goes back to the farmhouse. Dina said what she said she would do. She left. And she only... I think and this is something I pointed out to Cassie. She took pretty much everything out of the house with the exception of Ellie's stuff, which she put in like an upstairs bedroom, all pushed into her corner. And my joke was kind of like, did she have like a U-Haul come down and like move all the furniture out of the house to go elsewhere? Like, I imagine no matter where you're going, I'm sure there's people who died who left their kitchen table. You could just use their shit and it'll be fine. But it was definitely a dramatic effect, I guess. She plays like the guitar with less fingers. And then they show her like from the window. She's like walking across the field. The implication being is that she's gonna go find Dina.
I hope so.
I mean, that's my guess, is that she's probably gonna go find Dina. How does Tommy's story kind of end? Do you remember?
Tommy shows up at the map, and he doesn't, because Dina yells at him. She's like, "You need to get out of here with that. We're finally living a life."
No. I mean, after that.
Did she see him after that?
I think so. I think there's a bit where like his... No, wait, maybe not.
I don't think he comes into
Maybe
play
not.
because he is trying to convince Ellie to go on the mission to get Abby and get revenge because he got shot in the eye, so he has no depth perception.
Okay. No, right, you're right.
So, he comes by to try to convince her.
So in retrospect, he never went after Abby again.
He can't.
He can't. Okay, so he needed Ellie to be like
Ellie.
his seeing eye dog, kind of.
Haha.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's like, hey, I can come along and you can protect me while getting like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of... And his wife was really mad at him. They made that point.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I can't remember the name of Tommy's wife, but...
They were taking some time apart.
Yeah.
So, I guess he was also trying not to, like, make that any worse.
Right.
But he also wanted to get revenge for Joel. I think it would have been kind of cool if they had showed her going to see Tommy and kind of explaining how it ended. Because maybe that would have given some concrete reasoning for her, because I mean, you see the vision of Joel, and it's not a horrible, like, gruesome scene. It's just him relaxing on the rocking chair. So I think maybe if she had gotten to see Tommy or something, that would have been kind of cool.
Maybe. I mean, she's got all the time in the world now. There's no reason why she can't go for them both.
Right, but I just meant, like, if they had showed that.
I mean, I guess if you think about it, maybe she had the intention of going to go find Dina, but then at the same time being like, I have no idea where she could have went. Let me go start by finding Tommy and then take it from there, maybe.
Well, I think they give you the idea that maybe she went to go see Jesse's parents. Because she's doing, like, a corresponding back and forth. I don't know who's delivering this mail. But, like, a correspondence back and forth.
Apocalypse mailman. Here's your telegram.
Between her and Jesse's parents. Maybe they have, like, carrier pigeons or
like crows,
ravens.
like Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Not crows, ravens.
Ravens.
Because I was thinking crows too, and then I'm like, no, more
Maybe.
sophisticated.
Maybe.
Ravens. Maybe they have delivery ravens. We'll never know.
Well, I was saying to you, like, maybe instead of a U-Haul moving the furniture, it was like Oregon Trail, like a big, like a horse and carriage and like a tarp over it and whatnot, you know. Like Walking Dead kind of did that a little bit.
Right.
They went to the museum and they stole, like, the horse and carriage.
Yeah.
So, I mean, overall, I enjoyed playing the game. It was only those, like, 3 days in Seattle as Abby that I was like, I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being an avatar with bows and arrows that blow up and sneaking up on bad guys, and that was fun. But I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was a cheap move to try to make us wait that long to find out what's going to happen. It's
right.
like, you're basically telling your audience that what we're going to do now is not really going to be great, so we're going to dangle this carrot and kind of keep you dangling a little bit. So I didn't really think that was amazing. So yeah, lots of issues. The big thing that has the internet ablaze right now, people losing their shit, is everyone is really mad that Joel got killed with a putter.
I didn't love that. I'm still a little torn up about it myself.
So let me ask you: are you mad that they did that in the game though, or
as opposed to?
Well, like, I mean, a lot of people are like, you know, like writing Naughty Dog, being like, "How dare you? He's a beloved character, and you ruined everything." And you know.
I don't know if they ruined everything. I mean, I don't know. I didn't feel like the punishment fit the crime.
Of course, yeah.
So, I mean, I get that she's upset that he killed her dad, but he didn't beat her dad to death with a putter.
That was my critique too.
I thought that was gruesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like there.
It's not like he just blew her. It's not like she just blew him away.
I think it would have been. Yeah, I think it would have been almost like more justified if she had if it had been more of like a torture thing and Abby had at least like a chance to save him. I don't know. Even if like she couldn't and they end up killing him after all. But I don't know. I thought but I guess that's supposed to play into Ellie later, and that's supposed to be her motivating factor to go get Abby because she's seeing these horrible flashbacks.
And that's why I don't really mind it. Like, my point of view is like, I'm fine with it. Like, it's meant to sting.
I get that that's why they did it. Like, once you get to the point where Abby's hearing, like, a rake fall and having, like, a horrible flashback to Joel just getting his head bashed in,
it's meant to be the catalyst to get the story going. You don't have a story without Joel getting, putted on.
Putted.
So I didn't mind that. What I minded, like I said, was, like, if anything, they should have done a better job with Abby's dad. And making him a little bit more likable, maybe. Or, I don't know. It was just something, like I said, I think the biggest sticking point for me was it didn't do what... I knew exactly what it wanted to do. I knew exactly what it wanted to make me feel, but they misfired. And they didn't do exactly... They missed their target, as it were.
Yeah, the first game, I guess especially since he was playing and I was watching, I was almost caught in the story so much that I felt like I was watching a movie, not a video game. Because there's so much exposition and you really get involved in these characters, which is why you go into the second game and you're already like, Ellie and Joel, I love them. So, and then they bring Dina on, and I do start to like, you get to like Dina.
Yeah, Dina's cool.
Sticks
Dina and
with,
Lev, like I
with
dig
Ellie,
it.
no matter what. So that's pretty great, and Jesse's pretty cool too. Like you start to get these characters.
He's not in it that much.
And I guess it helps that they're involved with characters that you already know and love. So you're like, oh, she likes her, so I like her. Like, so it could be a little bit of that, but they also gave them pretty relatable personalities. So that was really nice. But I'm trying to remember like where this conversation started. My brain just shut off.
It made me think of a thing. My favorite scene, I think, in the entire game. I don't know. I'm a little sentimental sometimes. I like the scene where Joel takes Ellie to the museum.
Yes.
And they're in the rocket ship, and he's got like the mixtape, and it's got the blast off, and like that was well done. I give him a lot of credit for that. Did you have a favorite scene in the game? Per se?
Loved that. I keep kind of forgetting that happens, and I don't know why. Because I always like, it's like her birthday, and he takes her to like the museum to go see all the stuff, and they do, like you said, the rocket, and he makes a mixtape of
she's putting
the rocket launching. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to remember.
I got so sick
scenes
of that dumb aquarium. I was like, I don't care. I guess because I was like Abby and Owen's story, and I'm like, I don't care about them.
But there was nothing in it. Like it's, I mean,
no,
the museum.
He decorates it for date night, even though he's married with a kid on the way.
Right, but all of the dinosaur figures are still there. All of the exhibits are still there. With the museum, all of that stuff with stands with an aquarium, it's all living animals. So none of it's there anymore. It's just a room with glass and then things painted on the walls, so it doesn't have that same appeal as a museum would without functioning.
Right.
It's because it doesn't have that. Yeah, the stuff withstands a lot further. So, I'm trying to remember all of the things.
I wish there was more zombies and people to kill. I felt like there was the people. It was like, again, this is like a Walking Dead thing, and I kind of wonder, in reality, if this did happen, because like, would people become these like factions, like these groups, like the Bloods and Crips and whatnot? Like, would that really happen? And then they would be compelled to fight each other. Like, I feel like survival would be the bigger picture here.
I mean, people tend to get pretty easily divided sometimes. So I can see where you're in a place where you're pressed for resources and you're just trying to survive on your own merit, that if you feel like somebody may be interfering with that, or you're just so defensive at this point because you're just trying to fight off anything that gets near you.
Yeah.
You know, I can see where people might get a little hostile.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's hard to say whether they would. Hopefully they'd come together more than spread apart.
I would hope, but I guess it's good storytelling
I can see
too.
The people, you know, everybody being so afraid of giving up their resources that they're afraid they're not going to have them, that they'd be really like hostile, like better get away from my stuff.
I did enjoy though, like throwing bottles to get the zombies to attack the bad guys.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't have to kill anybody now. I could just throw a bottle and be like, I'm a fly on the wall, and I run away.
Funny. I liked when they have Dina and Ellie, and there were a few cutscenes with them, which, like I said, really developed those characters. I think they're in like a basement, and they find like music. I think that's this one, and not the cutscene of the first one. When
I was gonna say there is one where she goes to the shopping mall with her friend, the first one,
right?
But there is something like that in this one too.
And they find pot.
They find pot. Right.
Because that's what I remember. But there's like a whole thing, and I think that they really, you know, developed their connection and everything. So
again, I didn't have any issues really with Ellie's story and the people that surrounded Ellie.
Right.
It was Abby and the people that surrounded her. Like, I think Owen was a piece of well, not a piece, well, he was just, I didn't care.
Right.
Like, he wasn't awful. Well, I didn't care. I didn't care what happened to him.
He was, they were trying to make him kind of sarcastically goofy.
I guess he had a couple funny moments, maybe.
He was just, I don't know if his humor was too dry or, like I said, you just didn't get enough time to get to know these characters.
And like I said, I was already annoyed that they kind of, like, left me on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And, like, meet Owen. And I'm like, fuck you. So, like, maybe in a different way, I would have liked Owen more.
Right.
You know. I don't know. Let's rank the game. What out of 10, what would you give it?
I'll give it a 7.
7 out of 10? Okay. I'm gonna give it a 8.8. Like I said, the only thing I'm taking off for is, like, I think the structuring could have been better. If you can get Zack Snyder in here to give us his cut, with the Snyder cut, we can recut it a little bit.
The Snyder cut.
Throw $20 million at it. If you could have done it a little bit, I'm very curious to see if you alternated between Abby and Ellie more. Maybe beef up a little bit Abby's backstory so you care about the surgeon a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, as hard of a choice as it is, like, you gotta give the doctor some credit for, like, trying to... It's gotta be a hard choice to be like, I'm gonna kill a little girl so I can save humanity.
Right.
Like, that's a hard thing to do. You gotta give him some credit. He probably was a decent guy trying to do a hard choice.
Yeah. I mean...
But, you know...
It becomes the few versus the many, but... you kind of can't blame Joel because he's completely attached to this little girl. And they have no idea if it's even going to work.
But
they're going to cut her brain open.
You could blame Joel in a certain light. Because, like, if you... Okay, so if you're watching, like, 10 o'clock news, and the headline says, man kills entire hospital room of surgeons who may have found a cure, and they have a mugshot of Joel. Bad guy. But because it's like Walter White, because you've been following him the entire time, you're with him, man, and you love him and Ellie together, and you love, like, he didn't do a good thing. Like, it's you understand it, but it's debatable whether or not that was the right choice or not.
If you were Ellie, would you be mad at Joel when you found out?
Yeah, because she makes a good point of saying, like, my life could have meant something. Even if it didn't work, it could have been a chance for civilization to... whatever. But as far as the story goes for The Last of Us, I don't mind that they made those choices because now it plays a little bit more like a Greek tragedy, and I love that kind of shit a little bit. And I like the stuff that makes it kind of conflicting, and it's not cut and dry. It is a gray area.
Right.
And it makes sense that Joel would do that because he had a daughter and he lost that daughter.
Right.
He wasn't going to make that mistake again.
No.
So it made a lot of sense. I always love a good story that takes what would be perceived, if it was on the news, to be the bad guy, and then showing their point of view to make it be like, well, there's another side to that story. So I kind of dig that. Do you think they should make a part 3? And if so, do you want more of these characters? Do you want outside characters to get more of the spotlight? Like, what would your thoughts be for the future of the franchise, if any?
I'm not sure what they would do. I mean, as much as you want characters you already know to continue stories, at some point it's like, all right, but what are they gonna do? So I don't know if there's much more you could do with Ellie. Like, if I could see a picture of her and Dina and the baby, like, on a beach,
like an Easter egg
super happy.
Type of deal?
Yeah.
But would you want, like, we're gonna explore the fireflies, or we're gonna explore, like, would you want more of that universe on, or just, no, let's just call it a day and be done with it?
I mean, I can't think of anything offhand that I felt like could have been told more or better. So I would just say leave the universe where it is.
I think I'm there too.
So, because I mean,
I would want more from Naughty Dog, the company that made it.
Oh yeah.
But as far as this story, this universe, I'm like, it's fine being left alone the way it is.
You always want something that's as good as something that you get really attached to. But then, if it's one of those things where if you find a show that you really like, and you're just like, keep going with these seasons, then eventually they just run it into the ground, and you're just like, what happened? And it's like, these characters can only have so much of a story before you've just exhausted
I'd
the
also-
options that really make the story great.
I'd also be afraid that they would do like an Easter egg reference where like, oh well, ever since 2 years ago when Ellie died, yada yada yada. I'd be like, because you run the risk when you do like, well, we're gonna tell a story about the Fireflies, and then but we mention
Right.
Ellie and she's dead now. I'm like, don't do that.
I don't know.
I think we should just leave it alone. It's fine. You would need, when I was telling Cassie, you need a completely new theme for your story, because the first one's very much about survival. This one's very much about revenge, and how revenge is kind of like, I don't want to say just overrated. I feel like I'm just kind of like not wording that correctly, but it does, like, it's kind of like that old expression, if you're gonna go seek revenge, dig two graves, because like
Okay.
she loses as much as she kind of, it's not worth it in the end.
Right.
So you need a brand new theme, a lesson to be learned, as it were, for the third one.
Right.
If you were going to go down that road.
Right.
Whether it be a prequel, you shift to a different character, what have you. You need something fresh. You can't, there's nowhere to go. I think we're out of flashbacks with Joel.
Yeah.
I kind of don't want, because, I mean, if we do it again, Ellie's going to be a full grown-up at that point. Like, she's going to be like our age. She's going to be like, and like, I don't know. I mean, there's only so many zombies you can shoot after a while.
Yeah.
I mean, and then it might become like that Walking Dead thing where it's like we have fully developed communities, and outside the walls are like, the walkers. And I'm like, I don't know if I want that. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
they're almost there anyway in that show with the. So yeah. So do you have any final thoughts about any last thoughts of The Last of Us Part 2?
I really liked getting more of Abby.
Ellie.
I know. I goofed it too. I goofed it too. So, they both start with vowels. What do you want from me?
I've been doing it the whole time too, so
So, I liked more of Ellie. I'm sad about Joel. I don't know. I'm definitely mixed about his demise. Like, I understand it, but I still don't like it.
Would you have left if you were Dina?
I don't know where she went. I don't know if she went to Jesse's parents or not.
No. I just mean out of,
But
on principle, would you leave
right.
because...
No. I probably wouldn't have. Because I don't know. But you've also, I have the whole first game with Ellie. So
Right.
I maybe have more to care about or more to... I understand more where she's coming from.
Maybe it wasn't 100% out of spite. Maybe it was more like, I'm the only one taking care of this baby. I'm going where I have aunts and uncles to help me out.
Say that it might have become too much for
Yeah,
her.
and she's running the farm with the chickens and shit.
Right,
I
because you're
don't know.
trying to do everything and you've got an infant.
Maybe
so...
she wants to find another lady. Just saying. Being a single mom's got to be really hard in the apocalypse.
I know, but I don't know. I gather she probably went to go see Jesse's parents.
Probably.
So hopefully that's where Ellie's headed.
I remember singing every time Ellie was making moves on Dina, I'd be like, I wish that I had Jesse's girl.
Yeah, he kept kind of doing that, and I was like, all right, we get it. His name is Jesse.
She's a homewrecker. No, they're cute. They're cute. I did feel bad for Jesse though.
They
I
were
was like,
together.
well, they in the
They
final
had-
scene they show the kiss between Dina and Ellie. So and then they show that Jesse was talking to Ellie saying we broke up, and Ellie was kind of like, I bet we'll be back together in a week, and he's like,
Right.
well, we'll see, and he's like, well, did she ask about me? He was definitely interested, and I'm sure that was kind of I don't know.
But she didn't plan it.
No, I
I mean,
know.
I'm
I'm only joking. I don't really think.
I don't you can't help if one person's done and the other person's not.
I thought they were cute. I think Ellie messed up,
They were-
but that's the point. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind some type of story about Lev, completely unrelated to all of it. If you're gonna go that route, maybe something with Lev and maybe something with that community, and then but
Right.
don't involve any of these characters Abby, Ellie,
Yeah.
Joel, what have you.
You have to get creative with it.
Yeah. Last Airbender. I like
The
Lev.
last airbender.
He does.
He does look like the last airbender. I can't fight it.
All right, so that's all I got. Unless you got anything else.
I don't.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, talking about The Last of Us. Please comment down below what you thought about it. Did you agree with the way that Joel was kicked out? Do you think he should have been left in? I don't understand the controversy, but maybe you guys can explain it down below. Until next time, guys, I've been John. This has been Cassie. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time.